No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets solved. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why.
Hey y'all. Well, thanks for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon on September the 10th. I'll tell you, it's been quite a day. I'm not gonna lie, a little emotional, a lot of confusion, a lot of disbelief, and this is why. If you didn't know about Charlie Kirk, then you missed out on learning things about life. Totally. I mean, his entrepreneurial spirit to touch the college-age kids, because that is a critical time in a lot of people's lives, especially if they're in college. He was way before his time. And if you don't feel the way I feel about America, that's okay. You don't have to. You have free will and you have the right to think whatever you want about Americans, how you feel about America. But as someone who has served and defended the United States of America in the U.S. military, don't come to my chat and be an asshole. I'm going to tell you right now, we don't have time for games. We don't have time for this evil shit and putting people against each other because of your belief or your affiliation with a political party or whatever. I don't give a shit if you are Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, which I have always been independent. But in my humble opinion, we have got to end the violence, especially towards one another. Because right now, it's a spiritual war. It's good against evil, period. And it's disgusting. You've seen this week of the young woman who was stabbed on the train. We see the violence that ensued today in a college campus, folks. And we're talking about the IDAHO4 case and the violence that took place there, that we're all still scratching our heads trying to figure out. If they didn't get the right guy, then who did they get? No one. You saw what happened today. Charlie Kirk was out there on the stage and giving let's end the violence. And what happens? He gets shot in his neck and pronounced within 2 hours deceased. I am so sorry, Charlie Kirk, that this is not the America you had envisioned. Because you know what, guys? Whether you like it or not, our nation was found under God. What does that mean? I'm not talking religion. If you understand God as love, our nation was found in love, not evil and hatred and violence. And I want to make it very clear. I don't care if I lose you as a subscriber, a follower. You don't have to be a follower to understand human kindness. And that's what we're called to do. Be kind to one another. Now, I'll get off my soapbox, but I know my mods have my back. And honestly, if you're not here for that type of discussion, bow out gracefully. I'm going to get into the IDAHO4 discussion because this goes hand in hand with what I was going to say. Did anyone see how they nabbed the old guy and immediately thought it was him? I want to help enlighten you. In many situations, you'll see this happen. If there is a tragedy or event, there are always law enforcement or somebody in authority trying to take down someone to distract from the individuals they're going after. That old man was not the one carrying a weapon and shot at Charlie. However, the parallel almost incredible in the IDAHO4 case. Totally incredible. Now, I'm going to put it into perspective like this. If any of you travel, you go through the TSA line, you go through the metal detectors. They swab your hands to see if you have any residue of a BOMB or a GUN. And I have to spell it out because this app, this platform now is being so sensitive about what we share. It's wild, folks. Absolutely wild. But let me tell you, when you understand trajectory of a weapon, what type of weapon, sniper, military, whatever, you'll begin to see the bigger picture. And this is something for people who are so, oh my God, I saw it and I just can't believe it. I saw it, but I don't believe it. Because there's more behind this story. And I'm sure we'll learn in a few 24 to 48 hours exactly what that story was. But I am so thankful that I am living right now in this day and age to stand up for constitutional rights. See, this isn't the first case I've covered, guys. The IDAHO4 is not the first case. It probably won't be my last. But I will say, people are like, oh, you're getting too close to the truth. You better be careful. You know what? We need to get close to the truth. We need to start holding these people accountable, whether they're convicted felons or criminals or that did this or college kids. I'm just saying, if we need to hold people accountable, if you're going to be out there and be that evil among innocent people, you found the wrong town, the wrong country, guys. You have. And I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just speaking from my heart. Now, with all that being said, it brings me to this. If you have not seen our website, Justice for All, let me go grab that website because I want you guys to know we need to start sharing this. And it's not for my benefit. It's not for your benefit. It's for other people's benefit to read. To read. To learn for themselves. See, we could talk to people till we're blue in the face. They might not listen. But if they go and they're curious, curiosity always gets the cat. They're going to start wondering, what in the world is this all about? Let them see what it's about. Let them experience what it's about. But also on this page, we have an amazing artist in our midst. She has been working hard to diligently offset some of the nasty crap that they are doing to a factually innocent person in this case. And she is making artwork in a positive way. And that artwork will now be featured on the website for you and me to download. It's just a digital download. If you want some of that artwork, it has her logo on it. It has her watermark, her trademark. Amanda B., shout out to you, girl. There are more pictures. I have about 12 more pictures to put up here, but there are great digital work. She has taken the negative and we have put a spin on it. And we are putting it up for you to digitally download. $2. You can't beat that. Some of them will be a little bit more, but all the pictures of Bryan go to his fund. Everything else goes 100% to Amanda. I'm just trying to help any way I possibly can to get the word out there. What a way to help, right? What a way to help. And look at all you guys. Come on in, guys. Come on in. We are here to turn those negative people and turn the content into positive. Why not? What do we got to lose? Nothing. I'll speak up. The artwork is absolutely amazing. So, with that being said, are you guys, drop a 1 if you saw my live in the middle of the night last night or were able to rewatch the live. I know it was impromptu. It was not planned. It was absolutely crazy. And it had been from something I watched that spurred me. And I thought, you know what? Okay, Othram, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see how accurate this is. We're going to go ahead and put this to the test. So I started searching surnames of all the individuals that we have known to be a part of this case. And Othram basically said, well, it is of this DNA that they have found is of Italian descent. So I said, okay, and that 4 brothers, I've always thought that it was frat brothers, not physical brothers. They said, well, we went to an individual that was a brother and they did not want to test their DNA. And I thought, well, that's kind of odd because Bryan didn't have 4 brothers. Did his dad have 4 brothers? No. His dad didn't have 4 brothers. I thought maybe his uncle had 4 brothers. No. His uncle didn't have 4 brothers. So if this is accurate in what Othram has sold us, Kopaka is not Italian. No, nothing in his family lines up with Italian. Czech Republic. Okay? So genealogy doesn't lie, just like DNA. DNA doesn't lie. Genealogy doesn't lie. And Green is not of Italian descent. Now, here is the amazing discovery. Beyond Bryan Kohberger's profile on the knife sheath, snap. That's what we were told. But the investigators logged multiple other DNA traces inside 1122 King Road, and this includes male and female samples from door handles, common areas, and the victims' rooms. Okay? Many were tested and returned with unknown contributor results, meaning they didn't match the victims, the roommates, or Kohberger. And some were only partial profiles. That means there were not enough genetic markers for a match, while others were reported never fully analyzed. And we see those in the documents that were filed. Why does this matter? Well, the defense, what did they say? The defense clearly said, Your Honor, it's not my client. And they said, sorry, too bad, we've got your vehicle, we know where that's going. We've got your cell phone records, we know that wasn't right. And we have this beautiful document that was shared. This beautiful document was a motion to amend witness list and supplement expert disclosures. And this was filed on June 12th, 2025. And in the court, it said the state of Idaho, yada, 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 wanted for permission to amend the state's witness list and supplement previously filed by adding Dr. Christensen Westring, a potential witness expert. Now, why did this come about? This was getting ready to be pushed to trial, but just a few weeks out of a mysterious, fabulous plea deal that they bowed down to because they said the defense asked for it. Wrong. The prosecutor has all the power. They charged Bryan Kohberger, and essentially means that they have the right to prosecute the case. They have to prove their case in chief. And what did this motion say? Basically, now that his DNA was not included, it was actually excluded. He did not have any DNA on Maddie Mogen. We don't know the rest because they're afraid to show us the rest. And he did not have any DNA from the FBI in his car, his apartment, no dog hair, nothing. Not even at the scene of the crime. They can't even put him around there. And that's why they had the reel back after the sentencing. No, he had no connection, no stalking, nothing to this case. I'm baffled, right? How many of us were scratching our heads saying, wait a minute, this guy was charged with the death penalty for killing 4 college students off campus and burglary, 1 charge. How is it possible he did that without stepping inside the house, without being around the house, without knowing any of the circle of people? How did they do this? He's like freaking Houdini on top of Deadpool and Spider-Man and Batman all at the same time. Okay? And we're like, what the heck is this all about? Well, basically they said that they agreed to have the witness testify about the issue that the state had been resolved. They believed it had been resolved. Namely, that the defendant was not to be found a contributor of the DNA mixture found under one victim's fingernails. Now, it doesn't say about the rest. It just says one. Okay? Now, I don't know about the other three, but I'm sure that we may find out one day. I don't know. But Anne kept saying, my client is factually innocent. Bryan is innocent, Your Honor. And then the state proposed to stipulate this effect. The defendant informed the state he will not stipulate because he refers to present testimony. He wanted to testify for himself. Okay? And then they said the state will likely need to call Dr. Christensen Westring to testify about the DNA mixture so that the jury can understand the state's position and not be misled into believing that there is factual dispute where none exists. Did you all get that? He's basically wanting the witness to come up and the expert and testify about the DNA mixture because he didn't want the jury to be confused about this specific analysis. And it is very risky. Yeah, it is very risky. But Bryan Kohberger was very adamant about wanting to testify and explain the situation when Anne was like, no, Bryan, we don't want you because he's going to get way too off the beaten path, way too on other things. I can understand from both sides, especially with someone with autism. The jury may not have understood. The jury may have got confused. The jury, I mean, if you're no expert in DNA and you don't know DNA and you have to hear this from a jury perspective, I don't know what I would do. I mean, honestly, would you be confused? Would you be confused? Yes, people would misinterpret his effect. Absolutely, is that Stephen? Absolutely. He wanted everything unsealed. He wanted everything in front of the public. And that's exactly what Anne says too. Your Honor, if I talk about the affidavit and if I talk about things that are sealed, then people should know the right to have all this unsealed, and people, the public, should be able to see exactly what's going on. Now, they said on February 24th, the defendant filed a motion in limine inconclusive data. He did back in February. February 25, there was a motion that has not been unsealed yet. That's hopefully coming on the 19th, just a few weeks away. 9 days. I'm waiting. Now, this motion centered around the DNA mixture under Maddie Mogen's fingernail. It was inconclusive and the defendant was not a contributor. Dr. Westring explained in his affidavit that he would limit imposed on the ISP lab staff. And what else did they do? He wrote this big old long page about what he would testify to, and then he wrote his report. Wrote a report. And what did the state do after that? On the end of this filing, you'll see they threw in this little blurb. You wouldn't have known it was there if you didn't look. They threw in this little blurb that the parties proposed stipulation of fact. The state of Idaho caved into the defense's request, and they were going to stipulate to the fact that the FBI lab samples that were taken from the apartment and the car, none of the samples tested by the FBI showed a link between the residents of 1122 King Road, Moscow. Now, when I say that, I say this with full chest. He was not the getaway driver for anyone that got in the car that committed this crime. I'll say it one more time. He was not a getaway driver for anyone that committed this crime. Do we all agree? Because it clearly says his 2015 Hyundai Elantra, none of the samples tested by FBI from these locations showed a link to the residents of 1122 King Road. That means he couldn't have even been a getaway driver, folks. And I showed you his car was spotted on the other side of town and didn't fit the little map that Anne grilled him on in court in a hearing. Absolutely. She knew he wasn't on that side of town. That's why I showed you the time frame and where the car was traveling. But not only on top of that, now you can spread the word that he was not even a getaway driver, because everyone keeps saying he was the getaway guy, and then he was the cleaner guy, and then he was this, and he was that. No, he wasn't factually anything. He's factually innocent. So if he didn't do this, is the real killer still out there? Boy, that's a scary situation to be in. So he wasn't the getaway driver. He surely wasn't the cleanup driver. He didn't return to the scene of the crime. A lot of people are like, oh my God, he drove by there in the morning. No, he factually didn't. He didn't. And that was not his car. Absolutely, freaking Haley. Not his car either. No one got in his car that committed this crime. There was no evidence found in his car. No fibers, no hair, nothing from the headrest, nothing from the carpets, nothing at all. And the FBI is the one that took his car apart. He didn't take his car apart. I showed you that in the documents prior. In Pennsylvania, the FBI filled out each and every individual part of his car they disassembled. Now, will they ever admit they got the wrong guy? Probably not. They'll quietly do something on the back end, or they'll make him sit there until they figure maybe we have enough money in the state budget, we could take a big whopping hit. But think about all these other people that he could have a lawsuit against, which we know 17 lawsuits are on file in Pullman right now that they have hidden from the public. Hidden from the public. And if I share this with just one person to look at the documents, logically think for yourself, put the puzzle together, as many of us have, piece by piece, we're getting to the end result, which we figured we would get to anyways. When they stopped the investigation, once they had Kohberger's name, whoever threw it out there knew that ISP was getting close to the investigation to find out who actually committed these murders. Now, when you look at the stipulation, not just that it was not his car from the FBI lab or his apartment or his body or any of the victims' bodies, the state also stipulated that the DNA sample taken from underneath the fingernail of Madison Mogen contained a mixture of 3 individual contributors, Maddie, Kaylee, and two. They were identified as 2 of the 3 mixtures. And Kohberger was excluded. But they didn't tell you right above here that the expert was coming to testify that there were 4. an unknown male profile. Unknown, not known, a stranger, someone who probably committed these crimes. Now, the odd thing is, remember about the female contributor, the little graph that I showed you? There could have been an individual that was a female, but also had male DNA. So who was that? Did they benchmark that? Who was that? But yet they said that, because remember, this came from the fingernail, not the sheath. The sheath is something totally different. The sheath was done by alleged Othram. This interpretation of the fingernails was done by the lab. Don't get confused. This was not the sheath. This was fingernail analysis. Fingernail. The sheath was said to be of Italian descent and had a family from Pennsylvania. Female, I don't know. I don't know who it could have been. I don't know. But don't you think that the defense and the prosecution would make sure that they benchmark it? But Ann Taylor was the one that said they didn't test the other individuals. It's a mystery DNA, guys. And the defense repeatedly highlighted the existence of unidentified DNA. And that was the argument of the point, that it didn't point to Kohberger, it pointed to alternative suspects, in which Hitler denied. So the motions cite that DNA under Maddie Mogen's female fingernails, along with other household surfaces, did not match Kohberger. Not at all. See, and here's the part that they didn't even get to because there was no trial. The discovery battles have centered on whether the state should have fully disclosed the FBI genealogical work and all profiles logged. Just not the knife sheath. Just not the sheath. They should have disclosed all of it. And here is where the bombshell is for me. If the sheath had one set of DNA, blood contact DNA, which means tons of DNA, the cells were amazing, and it wasn't Bryan Kohberger's blood, but yet on the knife sheath snap, it was said to be his DNA, but obviously they doubled it and whatever they had to do to quadruple it or whatever. It's a mess. But knowing that the perpetrator was injured and cut and bled, that means that unidentified DNA from B and D, remember C was Cole, from B and D, there were at least two other alternative suspects. Two, not one. So now that Kohberger is out of this mix, and they were going to stipulate and say, yeah, none of this was Kohberger's. Well, by the time they did that, their whole freaking case fell apart. They were going to go in there and try to convict somebody with circumstantial evidence that they were not going to be able to prove anything. His car, himself, his DNA, nothing. He was not even there. No stalking, no nothing. No nothing. It was a ruse, a trial by media. What was the purpose of all this? Was it to let the real perpetrators go? Is the IDAHO4 actually factually deceased? I mean, we've got all these theories coming out from all over, and if we just take it back one step, Othram's been running their mouth, basically, in my humble opinion, saying he was Italian descent. if you guys caught on to that, I did some really big digging on Kohberger's side of the family genealogy. None of them are Italian. There's no 4 brothers in any of his lineage. And I'm thinking to myself, what if they got the DNA and they said it was Kohberger's because they found something in the genetic genealogy ancestry and they tried to make it fit just like everything else they tried to make fit? His car, his phone. I mean, Molly trying to say that he was going to be there and she was the key witness. They have tried to make it all fit. They've tried to make it all fit and it just doesn't fit. Kopaka is not Italian descent. I went back and searched his lineage. I went back and looked at everyone's lineage if you were on the live last night. I did a really deep dive after the live because I couldn't sleep. I was looking for that Italian connection from Pennsylvania, true Italian from Pennsylvania that had 4 brothers and possibly in the military. And I narrowed it down to one individual. That was it. Now, there is another individual that I didn't dig deep into that I will continue to dig deep into to see if there's any connection at all. Exactly, independent thoughts. How did they get fixated on Pennsylvania? They did because in the video with Othram, they did a video. And let me see if I've got that real quick because it was interesting how they did it. Let me see if I've got it. Where are we today? Here it is. Let's watch it real quick. This is really interesting. Let's see if I can throw this up.
There was so much, so much speculation. There still is. It's shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is science.
It's scientific.
Yeah, there's
right?
no speculation.
I mean, if you knew
it's scientific, there's no speculation.
Definitively that knife sheath was without a shadow of doubt, which is the case, now that it's all said and done, it would have been different going through. You would have relied on, you kind of went, okay, maybe we don't need to worry as much as we need to worry.
Yeah, and there was one advanced forensic test performed. There was one profile.
Now, when I clipped this video, it was on News Nation. Shout out to News Nation. Thank you for this video. I didn't put the camera on the speaker. Watch Stacey Chapin's reactions.
There was so much speculation out there about multiple profiles, incongruent information. There is only one lab that is doing this type of DNA technology that tested that DNA, and it's ours. Everyone tried to figure out why was this information not out there, what was missing, what was the missing component, and came up with a whole bunch of speculations that led to uncertainty. And that uncertainty continued to grow, and I think that was the most difficult on the victims' families.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And no one else, right? Like, I was certain the entire time because I saw the science. I knew the results, right? I never had one doubt in my mind.
Les, how's much to sell your soul?
That we'd be sitting here today, whenever today was, whether it's after the trial, before the trial, at a plea. I knew that this day was going to come. But the victims' families didn't have that certainty.
So let me get this right. Othram did the sheath, and then these experts here at GNS did the nails. Okay, that was the Forensic Science Services. So the nails proved that they were not Kohberger's under Maddie's nails, and that there were 4 individual samples. 4, a male and a female, and then Othram,
Law enforcement involved in the case,
comes in, as we know that Moscow flew it into them, but then they logged it in their evidence file, and it says that the ISP took the sheath. Okay, so I'm a little confused because I don't see any reports in here, in these reports from Othram. I don't see any reports at all from Moscow saying what the report was. I don't see anything in here from Othram. All I see is this GS Gustav and Sons LLC, in which the state, it was addressed to William Thompson. Okay? I don't see anything coming back from Othram stating or filed yet that says it was Kohberger's DNA on the snap. Okay? And the next 10 years, 4.85% growth in tulip sales. Okay, so let's listen to the rest of it.
I don't know how far the results actually propagated as the full result of the investigation, because everything was kept so under wraps. And I think that needs to change. And I want to make clear, because there are questions in our talk today for David, and I'm sure in our talk tomorrow, that we don't tell them this is your perpetrator. We say this person's profile, or one of these 2 or 3 people in this family left DNA at this crime scene, meaning that they then need to investigate. They need to contextualize that information. They knew in the Kohberger case that there was a white Elantra that was seen at the crime scene. Now they knew that there was a family in Pennsylvania that was identified. Could they look up a white Elantra that had a Pennsylvania plate or a Pennsylvania driver? Of course they could. And that's part of their investigation. I don't know the order of which the investigators actually investigated that case, but they were able to piece all those pieces together.
So let me get this right, guys. From what I'm understanding and how I interpreted this, and I thought really long and hard before I said this. So from all the data that we've seen so far, from all of the documents in court, from all of the police reports, we don't see anything, no follow-up from Othram, but here they are at CrimeCon, and they're sharing the information about, hey, they are the experts that found the DNA. So, in essence, they are the ones that gave the tip, right? Because Moscow wouldn't have known the name. The FBI wouldn't have known the name because they didn't test the DNA. And ISP, they wouldn't know because they don't do that type of testing. Othram is the one that gave the name Bryan Kohberger. But hear the hesitation in her voice. She doesn't specifically say they gave a name. I'm going to go back and play it for you. I'm going to go back just a little bit. But listen, she doesn't specifically say we gave the name. They could have given any information for anyone in the area that was from Pennsylvania. Narrow that down, and how many people have lineage in Idaho from Pennsylvania. I can guarantee 4 people who have lived in Pennsylvania that have a family name of Italians in Pennsylvania, and not one of them was Kohberger, not one of them was Kopaka. From my research, now I'm not expert at this, but I'm just saying, from my own research, allegedly, it wasn't Kohberger and it wasn't Kopaka. Listen to what she says again.
Because we gave them the information that we gave them. And as they...
We gave them the information we gave them. What was that information? They got the wrong guy? Because Gustav and Sons over here in ISP and William Thompson was in the middle of doing what? Making a stipulation to say, well, you weren't caught by the FBI. None of that crap over there is your DNA. Damn it, it's not even in your car. It's not in your apartment. It's not even under freaking victim's fingernails. Now we have to stipulate, and our whole case just falls apart. And we can't have mud on our face in front of the whole freaking world because we pegged you from the beginning. We pegged you from the 5th day. If they knew what his name was on the 5th day, then why didn't they go get him? Why did they wait 20, 30 days to go and get him? You're telling me the law knew who he was and they hesitated to go pick him up? Why did they hesitate? Did they get the wrong guy? Did they think, oh shit, if we make a mistake, we're going to have dirt on our face? She did give it away. She gave it all away. And that's why I was watching their facial expressions. They're having an oh shit moment right now. I wonder who called them and said, we're screwed. These people are catching on. These people are too smart for us. They've got droves of people looking into this case. They're looking at these documents. We're unloading all these documents, and they've put it all together. Now we're down the tubes, allegedly.
All those puzzle pieces together, it became very clear that there was only one suspect that was possible of committing this crime.
Only one suspect that was possible of committing this crime with no affiliation with these people. They wanted it to be some stranger. They wanted it to be a loner. They wanted it to be an incel. They wanted it. That's the narrative they sold the population. That's the narrative they sold us, guys. They pulled the wool right over our head. Like I said in the beginning, we've been freaking hoodwinked. If you've not seen that movie, it's a cute little movie. And the reason I say hoodwinked is because we have been. They figured this case would just die and go away. But you know what? Thanks to Ashley Banfield and all the pictures she released today, I'm just going to keep digging. And I'm going to keep bringing you more facts because they're ignoring the facts. They're trying to hurry up and cover it all up and still say how awful he is and how horrible, what a loner he is. And he calls his mom mother and father. So maybe they were raised in that old German tradition where they address their parents respectfully, like Charlie Kirk was trying to teach the college kids today. Be respectful of your bodies. Be respectful of one another. End the violence. So when you think about it, they're just trying to cover their mistakes. And the worse they make him look, the more people believe he's still guilty.
What is it like for you to meet the person or the people who, I mean, it's so scientific what they did, but to put a face to
It
it.
was amazing. Jim and I hopped the first plane.
Yeah.
We flew to Houston, and then Maisie and I have been back.
So they flew to Houston. They've met prior to this, to finding the DNA that doesn't match in what we've seen so far. That right now, today, right at this date and time, and 9/10/2025 at 4:28 Pacific Standard Time, Bryan Kohberger is still factually innocent, guys. Factually.
I feel forever indebted to them. I have a list of people in my heart that, since November 13th that I feel that way about, and they're on the list. I mean, thank God that they developed something that helped our case.
She's on the side.
Helped their case. It helped their case. Wow. But it's still a mystery because we don't know who that unknown data is, that unknown DNA data. But we do know for a fact the prosecution was trying to stipulate to get that out of the court documents because they knew, guys, they knew at this time that Bryan Kohberger was factually innocent on the date of this filing, 6/12/2025, just weeks before they turned around and offered a plea deal because they couldn't go to court and have egg on their face. And they wouldn't remove the death penalty because somebody needed to pay for these murders. But I'll be damned if they did that to an innocent, factually innocent person. Can you believe that crap? Is this what we've come to in America, in our justice system? Is it really this corrupt? Is it really that they're trying to backtrack and look at these filings for Moscow Police Department? They waited years to put something in writing. I mean, those police department, it's a joke. Those reports, they backtracked all these reports because they knew that Ann Taylor was coming for them. They knew she was going to expose them. They knew. They knew. And it's just so sinister that they continue to perpetrate the fraud. How many FYP on TikTok, how many videos have come out with all these freaking new pictures? Thank you so much, Big Red. Yeah, they could have, it could have been any name. Who double checked the work of Othram? Where are the checks and balances? That's what I have to ask. Where are the checks and balances? Where? Where are they? Are they me? Are they you? Are we the ones that have to stand up and say we've had enough? Because this guy's behind bars, factually innocent. Now, I will say this. We've seen a pattern of this across the country. Yes, we have. We've seen it in the Karen Reed case. Cellbrite was a fact of the matter in that case, too, which is a little weird. That's sus. A CEO and his wife from the dining room table having interviews. That's just sus. And we see him on the stand, right? I mean, I can get into that whole Cellbrite thing. Crazy. But let me do this. Let me show you something I thought that was very interesting, if I can find it, because I just thought about it. And remember, my lives are unscripted. What you get is what you get. We've been sold this lie for so long. We've been sold this entire lie. I don't know if you've seen this. This is an old video. I've showed it before. It's on Inside Edition. And then it says, who's Adam? They go and they do a deep dig on who's Adam.
Something very innocent, and that could be something, you know, that you could draw your own conclusions to.
Shannon Gray, attorney for Kaylee Gonzalez's family, watched the video.
It just looks like it's Kaylee and Maddie walking home. And then I think the Adam they're referring to is just the bartender at the corner bar.
This is bartender Adam Lauda at the Corner Club Sports Bar where Kaylee and Madison were drinking the night they were stabbed to death. And this is Adam playing with Kaylee's dog, Murphy. He is not a...
Did you guys see that? Do I need to play it back? Just a little piece of it. I'll go back just a little bit. That was August 9th. August 9th.
Death. And this is Adam playing with Kaylee's dog, Murphy. He is not a suspect. And what about the guy in the video walking close to Kaylee and Madison? He is the same guy seen in this video at the food truck. Madison can be heard giving him a brush off. Police say they have also cleared him. And now there's this. New body cam video shows police responding to a noise complaint at the murder house on Labor Day weekend, more than 2 months before the slayings. It sure sounds like Party Central. A loud party is going on, but none of the girls are home. 2 men answer the door while other partygoers have fled.
Who does live here? What are their names? I am actually not sure. I've been a cop for 22 years here. I'm not stupid. Don't play dumb games with me.
The cops contact Madison Mogan by phone.
You have a house full of random people. You need to let them know that the noise needs to come down, okay?
Sounds good. I'm just frustrated. I'm also sorry once again.
The video offers further proof.
Now keep in mind, who were all these people in her house where she lived having a party? Who were all these people? Remember, I showed you a video the other day, and Maddie and Kaylee These were not their everyday average friends, right? Do you want me to show you that video again? I can bring it up. I had to play it really super slow so that you could get all, hold on a minute. So that you could get all the people. Let me see if I still have it. I try to delete them if I use them. Member, let's see, where is it? Did I keep it? Did I keep it? Maybe. Maybe it's this one. Let me see. Here it is. This is the one. This is the one that I showed. Remember how fast it went? And I had to slow it down? These were all the people they partied with. Not one of these are Maddie or Kaylee. Not one of them. Okay? So when you go back and then you watch this video that they were reporting on the Inside Edition, and you see Adam playing
Club
with
sports bar where Kaylee and Madison were drinking the night they were stabbed to death. And this is Adam playing with Kaylee's dog, Murphy. He
Adam knew Murphy.
Is not a suspect. And what about the guy in the video walking close to Kaylee and Madison? He is the same guy seen in this video at the food truck. Madison can be heard giving him a brush off. Police say they have also cleared him. And now there's this. New body cam video shows police responding to a noise complaint at the murder house on Labor Day weekend, more than 2 months before the slayings. It sure sounds like Party Central. A loud party is going on, but none of the girls are home. 2 men answer the door while other partygoers have fled.
Who does live here? What are their names? I am actually not sure. I've been a cop for 22 years here. I'm not stupid. Don't play dumb games with me.
The cops contact Madison Mogan by phone.
You have a house full of random people. You need to let them know that the noise needs to come down. Okay.
Sounds good. I'm just frustrated. I'm also so sorry once again.
The video offers further proof that lots of people had easy access to the house where the 4 were brutally murdered.
Why was Maddie so frustrated? Maddie wasn't even there. So Maddie is gone, Kaylee's not there, and they're having a big old party with all these people that open the door, and Bethany says, oh no, even though she lives there, let me go try to find someone. Why is that? And that was it, folks. I'm telling you. This whole mystery DNA, if it's got you baffled just like me, I don't think there's much of a mystery. I don't think there's much of a mystery, because if it were any of these mystery samples ever ran through CODIS, that's the federal DNA database, I doubt it, because they only ran one. They only ran one. And they had to have known it wasn't in there anyways. And here's a question. Did law enforcement withhold full testing results, or did they simply note just unidentified without deeper work? And were some of the DNA swabs excluded from trial evidence? We don't know what they were presenting. And all these profiles could have belonged to visitors, party guests, prior tenants, unknown perpetrators. I mean, think about it. Hoodwinked, framed the wrong person. Now they're taking credit for a failed DNA. Because even though there was the single source DNA that matched Kohberger, it didn't match from any of the victims, not his car, not the FBI reports, nothing. So was that tip a legitimate tip for the knife sheath? Sure, but it didn't catch the killer. Not one bit. Not one bit. And if you think that you've heard it all, we're just getting started. They're probably saying, I wish these people would shut up. I wish they would shut up. Well, you know what? We're not going to shut up until justice served. That's the goal. And look at this one by Amanda. How Othram eliminated serial killers in the U.S. Innocent people. Innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Stay tuned, because if the mystery DNA doesn't belong to Bryan Kohberger, then who does it belong to? Y'all, thanks for joining. Thank you for another fabulous live. I am so humbled and blessed to be here. You all be well and enjoy the rest of your night. And RIP to Charlie, his wife, and his 2 children. I'm at a loss for words. Be well, you guys. And make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them and hug them tight. Be well.
No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why.